my fellow Liberty Human Services classmates. Today I'll be showing you my interpersonal communication project. I have learned a lot over this semester in regards to interpersonal communication, and I've narrowed down my overarching goal to be mainly just creating positive conversations. A lot of the times during our conversations we may have an environment of hostility, of strife, and my goal is to promote just empathy and a constant pursuit of love despite how a conversation may start off, and just end it just allowing the person to know how much they are cared about and that I understand where they're coming from. So overall, my goal is not to create conflict and to pursue having good conversations. The most important thing that I have learned over this semester is always being positive. We have so many people that we may encounter in our life, and I would like to create a generative spiral with positive response. And one of the main things that Stewart talked about in his book was how we can have negative responses and positive responses, and I want mine to overall be positive with whoever I'm speaking with. To enlarge the conversation means for us to go beyond our own personal thoughts, beliefs, and what we want to say. Sometimes in conversation we can focus only on what we want to come across, our own opinions and desires, but when a conversation is enlarged, we're looking at all aspects. We're perceiving and we're also receiving information, and we're sharing and we're moving past ourselves. My blockage of enlarging the conversation is sometimes I may get defensive, or I may have things distract me from hearing them, making judgments or assuming. And sometimes I'm the kind of person where I like to give a lot of advice, but sometimes it's better to just listen to the person, to hear what they have to say before we give the perception of knowing everything. So I may block the conversation from being enlarged by assuming that I have all the right answers, or always having something to say versus just stepping back and allowing the person to speak. And although I don't do these things all at one time, it may happen periodically, so my goal is to lessen that, especially as a professional. You don't want your clients feeling like they can't get a word out, or they feel like they can't make their own decisions, because although we're helping them, we want them to feel adequate and that they're able to achieve their own goals. My background in behavioral blend, I've also learned they do coincide with one another. How I grew up, my parents, my family, whether it was extended or just between me and my sisters, my behavioral blend was also influenced by that. So for my background, both of my parents were born in Jamaica. They came to America in their early 20s. All three of my sisters, we were born here. We grew up in Windsor, Connecticut. When I reached middle school, by that time my parents had divorced, and that I learned over time affected my communication, because I used to be more of an outgoing child, but after my dad left I kind of shut down and became more introverted. And that played a huge role on my communication skills. And throughout my whole entire time, up until I was about 20, I was in Connecticut, and I moved down in 2009. Is that the right math? I don't know. I'm not good at math. That's why I'm a sociology major. So my positive influences of my father my positive influences mostly came from my father. Even though he had moved away, he's always taught me to love who I am, and that has allowed me to have a positive perspective of myself and been my source of encouragement. And when I'm not received by others, a lot of times just throughout school, just remember what my father has told me has helped me to be encouraged. And my sisters and my mom also have encouraged me to just be myself, because they're very happy with who they are, and that has helped me to be who I am today too. And my other positive influence is Christ. I came to know him at a young age, and throughout time, I've learned that he wants us to communicate with the wisdom and to listen more than to speak quickly. So through reading that of learning to listen more and not always speak so fast has been my positive influence to create better conversation. Some negative influences that I have had would be me not leaving any room for growth, because my behavioral blend, I guess you can say I tend to like what it says about me, so I may just be comfortable with what it's saying versus me work on some things. I know one thing I have to work on is being less assertive. Sometimes I can be really demanding, and I have to work on how to communicate to the masses, which makes sense because I do want to speak to a lot of people, but I still have to learn how to communicate my thoughts to others. And for my behavioral blend, I was a CSD, and this showed me that I was passive yet dominant, and although others expect me to be direct, submissive, and competent, I'm actually more of a passive person, but I'm also dominant at the same time. I'm not talkative or a crowd pleaser. I'm the kind of person where I like to be more in a small group and have one-on-one conversations. I don't like to sit and wait for things to happen, and I will cautiously move forward. I'm the kind of person where I like to constantly have things working out, and if it's not speedily coming, I still do things step by step just to get it done. I do enjoy helping others, especially those who are unsure of their future or unsure of anything. I like to give reassurance to help them. And I do like to plan, but I may have trouble communicating with others. In my head, I may know what I want to do, or I may have a certain plan, but when it comes to sharing with people, it may not come out as I have intended it to. The positive influences that have come from my behavioral blend would be that it's given me more confidence as well as confirmation on who I am. Some of the things I knew about myself aligned with what our book from Carbonell told us, so I wasn't surprised. A lot of the things that was in there, so it gave me more confidence. And a lot of times I thought I needed to change who I was, such as being someone that was a quiet person. I would think that something was wrong with me because I wasn't like everybody else, or no one really clicked with me. But I learned that nothing was wrong with me, and I became more comfortable, and I was able to speak with more people. Some negative influences from that is that I won't tend to change if I get comfortable with who I am, and I may want to just stay in the same arena, but I still need to grow and work on certain things. Potential barriers that I may face would just be old mindsets. I want to make sure that I continue to review all the books, Peterson, Stewart, Carbonell, and Burley Allen, just to make sure I retain the information and keep practicing. If I don't do that, it will hinder my growth in having interpersonal communication skills. And differing personalities and personality clashes with other people will may also be a barrier, but I have to learn how to work with people who are not like me, even if I'm uncomfortable. And to overcome that, just be prayer, like I said, reading, and learning how to love everyone and not just people who are like myself. And the internal noise pollutions would be just my own thoughts of who I am, not having a self-concept that's positive, and my past experiences, my present situations will also cause me to have either a lower or higher self-esteem, and that'll determine if I have negative or a positive conversation. My external noise pollution would be any distractions that are going on around me. That'll cause me to not focus on the speaker, but I need to learn to just tune in on them and give them the verbal cues to show them that I'm listening despite what is happening around me, my surroundings. My action plan is to utilize the listener talker card from Peterson. Doing that will be a good practice to remember what my role is as a speaker and as a listener. and ridding myself of any habits that I've learned before, and to pray for God to break those habits, and being more aware of my behavior and experience with others. And my references are from the 4 books I read this semester, and 2 scholarly resources are from Bond and Caro on developing more listening skills. That's my project. Thank you for watching, and have a great rest of the semester.